Welcome back to IM1, everybody. Today's topic 2.1.4, what information determines a line? And today's learning target, by the end of this lesson, I will formalize y equals mx plus b form, and we'll explore what information is needed to determine a line, and also develop an algorithm for determining the slope of a line through 2 points without graphing. The word algorithm here means pretty much a process, all right? So if you guys are not familiar with that word. So you guys have already been looking at different types of ways that we can represent a line. For example, we can have an equation, right? We can have a situation like the tile patterns and the figure number, right? That was a situation. Also, we were able to make graphs, and we were also able to make tables. So we're still going to be exploring what other types of things we can do with lines. And let's start off with question 235. Equations for linear patterns can all be written in the form of y equals mx plus b. And in this case, x and y represents what we call variables. And when you wrote equations relating the figure number to the number of tiles, what did x represent? And then what did y represent? So again, x was the figure number, and then y was the number of tiles. And then if we're still looking at the equation again, y equals mx plus b, right? So we already covered x and y. So m and b are what we call parameters. And these do not change within a given linear equation. So these values are always going to stay the same, right? So m and b always stay the same. M is also called a coefficient, since it multiplies a variable x. So anything that's multiplying a variable, we call it a coefficient. And b is a constant term, since it goes and does not multiply a variable, right? So if it doesn't have an x attached to it, it's what we call a constant term. Again, if it has an x attached to it or any other variable, it's what we call the coefficient. And what do m and b represent in a linear situation like the tile patterns? So again, if you guys remember, you can always check your notes. M was pretty much the number of growth, right? The growth of the tiles. And then B was our starting value, right? Or initial value. Or in this case, it was also called figure 0. And then what effect does M have on the graph of the line? And then what does B have? What effect does B have? So remember, M is pretty much the way our graph changes, right? So how we get from one point to the next point. So this is how our line changes. And then B again is pretty much where we start on the y-axis. So now we're going to be looking at question 236, the line factory. So you're an engineer at the city's premier line factory. Your job is to process customers' orders for lines. Analyze the recent orders below. If the customer has provided enough information to produce one and only one line, then pass it on to your production departments with an equation and a graph. All right. So again, here they're providing us to produce, like, the customers give us an order and we got to make sure that we can produce one and only one line. However, if you don't have enough information to draw one specific line, draw at least 2 lines that fit the order and send it back to the customer so that the customer can be more specific. So here, if you guys click on the link, that's going to be available right there for you. We look at our first question right here. So it says, again, we're going to analyze the orders. If the order is not aligned, write a note to the customer explaining why it's not aligned. And then the Line Factory standard standardizes its graphs by scaling the axis from -10 to +10 in both directions. So again, make sure you guys have -10 and then +10 over here. There we go. My grid seems to have disappeared. There we go. All right, so we go from -10 to +10. And then it says, question A line A goes through the point 2, 5. So you guys can move this until you reach 2, 5. Which one tells me? Okay, so I'm going to move, that's 5, 2. So 2, 5 should be up here. There we go. And then this one. So if you guys notice here, if we're only going through one point, how many lines can you have? So here in this case, we're going to say line A goes through the point 2, 5. So is this going to be something that you're going to send back to the customer or send to production? So here you pretty much would send it back to the customer because you can draw more than one line, right? So let's do it in our notes. So we're going to say we're going to send this back. Send back to customer. All right, we need more details. Okay, question B, line B has a slope of -3 and goes through the origin. Okay, so let's see that now. So the origin is pretty much just the center right there. And then from there, we're going to go down 3 and then always 1 to the right. So remember that. So down 3 and then 1 to the right. So is there going to be more than one line that we can draw across from there? Like it goes through the origin and it also goes pretty much down 3 and then 1 to the right. So here in this case, this is the only line that you actually draw there. So we're going to say, so this is sent to production because it's good. We have enough information. All right. So again, let's do line A. So I'm going to do it in blue. Line A was 2, 5 right here. And then we had more than one, right? We can say A sub 1, and then we can have another one. Goes this way. Again, 2, 5. And then this is, again, A2. So that's 2 lines. And then line B goes through the origin. And then you go down 3, 1 to the right. And again, that would be pretty much the only line that we can have through those 2 points. So that's line B. All right. Line C goes through -3, -2, and 3, 10. So again, use the tool. If not, you can just draw it right here. So -3, -2 is down here. We go back to the origin. We go 3 to the right and then 10 up. So up here. And again, if you connect those two, is there any other line that can be drawn through there? Not in this case. So again, we're going to send this one to production. Okay. And then line D has the following table. So let's plot line D. So let me use a different color again. Let's go light blue. So 2, 1. 2, 1 is our first point right there. 3, 5. 3, 3.5. 3, 3.5 would be about right here. 4, 6 right there. and then 5 and 8.5. So about right there. So it also appears that this is going to be the only line I can draw using that table. So if it remains constant right here, we went up by 2.5. And then here again, we went up by 2.5. And then again by 2.5. So again, it is the same growth rate. So we can say that's the only line. It is a line. So we're going to send to production. So line E, they're asking us line E has a slope of 4. So that's the only thing they're telling us. So line E can be, if it's a slope of 4, we can start anywhere where we want. I'm going to start here in the second quadrant, right? So up 4, 1 to the right. So that's one line. And then I can draw another one down here in the fourth quadrant, right? From there, I'm going to go up 4 and then 1 to the right. And again, so that would be line D. So in this case, I can make 2 of those. So I'm going to say that this is going to be, I need more information, send back to client, right? So send back. And then line F goes through 8, -1 and has a slope of -3/4. So let's see that one now. So line F, 8's -1. So we go 8 to the right and then down 1 right there. And then from there, we're going to go down 3, and then it says 4 to the right. So we're going to end up somewhere about right there. So that's going to be our new slope. Our new line. So again, there's only one line that can be drawn right there. So therefore, we can also send this to production. And then finally, customer G send the following table: 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 4, 3, 8, and then 4, 16. So let's plot those points. Let's go green. 0, 1 is right here. 1, 2. So 1, 2 is right there. 2, 4. And then 3, 8. So 3, 8 is going to be up here. And then 4, 16 is off the chart. So if you notice, this graph starts slow and then starts to grow faster. So in this case, since we are making straight lines, we can't make this line. So this is not a straight line.